At the twilight of 2023, as the United States buzzed with one of the most polarizing presidential campaigns in recent memory, two of the country's most powerful men sealed a silent pact. Not in marble halls, but in the shadows of power, amid billion-dollar deals, algorithms, and colossal ambitions. On one side stood Donald J. Trump, real estate mogul and former president, hungry for a comeback and bent on reclaiming the White House. On the other, Elon Musk, the self-proclaimed champion of digital free speech, CEO of Tesla, SpaceX, and the newly rebranded X, formerly Twitter, with a tech empire and media influence like no other. The alliance was forged with money and promises. Musk, who had previously kept a distance from partisan politics, became the largest individual donor to the Trump campaign, funneling, both directly and indirectly, over $290 million into Republican coffers. The media scrambled to decipher his motives. Economic freedom? Contempt for the bloated state? A desire to shape the political future of the U.S. with his own hands? For Trump, the support was providential. The populist right, though loyal, was in desperate need of technical legitimacy and innovation. Musk offered both, and more. He offered the digital reach needed to break through electoral echo chambers and energize young, skeptical voters disillusioned with the political establishment. Thus was born the Department of Governmental Efficiency, or DOGE, an ironic nod to the meme cryptocurrency, but with serious intentions, dismantling so-called bureaucratic regulations, streamlining federal agencies, and applying startup-style management to the workings of the federal government. Musk was appointed informal chief advisor, a kind of minister of the state's machinery. In Trump's inauguration speech in January 2025, he thanked Musk not just for his support, but for the vision of a government as lean, fast, and profitable as a tech company. But behind the scenes, some gears had already begun to grind. While Trump's base cheered Musk's involvement as a union of visionary capital and conservative patriotism, some government insiders raised red flags about the glaring conflicts of interest posed by someone with billions tied up in public contracts. Alternative media hailed Musk as the new efficiency czar, but in the halls of the Pentagon and the Treasury Department, whispers grew louder. Musk didn't just want influence, he wanted real power. What seemed like the dawn of an innovative era was on the verge of becoming a battlefield. The first 100 days of Trump's second term were marked by an atmosphere of euphoria among conservatives. The market responded with cautious optimism, and the former president's supporters celebrated the return of the Real America. But at the heart of this reborn machine, a ticking time bomb pulsed quietly. It detonated in April 2025, when Trump presented to Congress his most ambitious legislative proposal since returning to power: the so-called Big Beautiful Bill, a multi-trillion-dollar package of fiscal, military, and social reforms. The name, in classic Trumpian grandiose fashion, masked the explosive contents of the proposal. Among its key pillars, the bill proposed a drastic cut in subsidies for renewable energy and electric vehicles, a gradual phase-out of tax incentives for green companies, including Tesla, increased spending on defense and border security, the dismantling of social programs deemed inefficient, and a tax reform that favored more traditional corporations tied to heavy industry and fossil fuel extraction. For Elon Musk, it was more than a shock, it was a betrayal. Within less than a week, the billionaire broke his silence on social media. In a 57-word tweet, laced with his trademark irony, he declared, "The Big Beautiful Bill should be called the Big Corrupt Bailout. It's a pile of garbage stacked on the American people, written to reward those stuck in the past. They sold the future for oil and cheap votes." The White House response came swiftly and coldly. Trump, visibly irritated, fired back at a rally in Texas. Elon is a genius when he's quiet, but an idiot when he tries to do politics. He's mad because the government won't keep subsidizing his little electric cars with taxpayer money. The war was officially on. In political circles, discomfort grew. Republican lawmakers, torn between loyalty to Trump and admiration for Musk, began wavering on whether to support the bill. Online, a wave of memes and fiery debates ignited public opinion. The country watched what appeared to be a clash of egos, but was in truth a battle of visions for America's future. Between Trump's economic nationalism and Musk's libertarian futurism, investors panicked. Tesla's stock began to fluctuate. SpaceX, heavily reliant on federal contracts, landed on the Pentagon's radar. Musk, meanwhile, began to fuel rumors that he might launch a new political movement, or even a party of his own. He knew the rupture was just beginning. And he also knew that by breaking with Trump, he was breaking with a significant portion of conservative America. But as he said in an interview shortly after, "I didn't get into this to be loved. I got into it to stop the collapse." And unknowingly, he had just lit the fuse that would lead to the loudest war between a billionaire and a president in modern history. What began as a clash of ideas quickly turned into a battle of egos. The disagreement over the big, beautiful bill was just the spark. The conflict between Donald Trump and Elon Musk, once partners of convenience, was now taking on the shape of a personal war, with public insults, veiled threats, and real consequences for businesses, institutions, and the country. The breaking point came during an impromptu press conference in the White House garden. When asked about Musk's recent criticisms, Trump responded with calculated venom. "Elon's just mad because he can't suck billions from the government anymore. He was never a patriot, just another billionaire who thinks he's smarter than everyone else. He wouldn't have won a neighborhood board election without me." Hours later, Musk fired back, as always via X, formerly Twitter. His post was short, cold, and cutting. "Without me, Trump would have lost in 2024. Fact, I funded the campaign. I built the digital machine. And now he wants to bite the hand that fed him. Good luck with that. Police garlight the retaliation machine." The White House moved quickly. Behind the scenes, Trump's aides began reviewing all federal contracts tied to Musk's companies. Within 2 weeks, NASA temporarily suspended 3 contracts with SpaceX, citing technical audits and review. The Pentagon announced it was seeking alternatives to Starlink for military communications, citing a values mismatch. The Department of Justice launched an investigation into Tesla's HR practices, alleging systemic discrimination. The message was clear: no one challenges Trump without consequences. Musk, in turn, ramped up his offensive against the administration. In podcasts, interviews, and live streams, he attacked the government with phrases like parasitic bureaucracy and vindictive populism. He promised transparency, meritocracy, and a new era of politics based on data, not delusion. Crossed swords the historic debate, the duel. The tension culminated in an event now seen as a landmark in modern politics, a live-stream debate between Trump and Musk, hosted by a consortium of digital platforms led by X itself. In a packed auditorium in Austin, Texas, surrounded by flags and giant screens, the two titans faced off. There were no clear rules. It was more rhetorical duel than traditional political debate. Trump, mocking and combative, fired off. "You're not a patriot. You're an algorithm with an ego. I am the American people." Musk, unmoved, shot back. "You're a product of the past. I'm a projection of the future. And the future doesn't need you." The audience, deeply divided, erupted in boos and applause. In that moment, it became clear. America wasn't just split between left and right. It was split between past and future. Bomb the first casualties. The fallout was swift and costly. Tesla stock plummeted 45% in 3 months. SpaceX suffered critical delays in its launch schedule. Trump faced boycotts from Silicon Valley investors. Musk's public image eroded among conservatives. But neither man backed down. A veteran Republican advisor, speaking anonymously, summed it up best. "It's like watching 2 dragons fighting over a burning city. And we all live in that city." The clash between Donald Trump and Elon Musk quickly evolved from media spectacle to national crisis, with ripple effects across every sector, from financial markets to the everyday lives of ordinary citizens, characterizing a nation in free fall. After the public fallout between the two titans, Wall Street went into full alert. Investors, fearing regulatory instability and tit-for-tat retaliation, began to pull out of Musk-affiliated companies. Tesla, already shaken by the end of subsidies and a silent boycott from conservative consumers, saw its market value evaporate. Over $450 billion lost in under 6 months. Pension funds heavily invested in the company collapsed. Small investors were wiped out. Musk, once the richest man in the world, watched his net worth shrink by over $100 billion. Still, he refused to back down. "I'm losing billions on principle. How many politicians would do the same?" he tweeted, defiant and resigned. SpaceX also took a major hit. With federal contracts frozen, the Mars colonization program was put on hold. The once promising Starlink project, aimed at providing affordable global internet, became the target of political sabotage and legal battles. In a nation where everything had become politicized, even Earth's orbit became a war zone. Balance scale, the legal squeeze. Trump, wielding the full force of the federal apparatus, mobilized every available lever against Musk. Regulatory agencies launched simultaneous investigations into the billionaire's main companies, citing environmental violations at Tesla factories, digital monopoly via the integration of X and Neuralink, alleged ties to foreign entities, including unconfirmed rumors of deals with Gulf state governments to keep Starlink funded. Musk countered by suing the government for abuse of power, disguised censorship, and political retaliation. A wave of lawsuits flooded the federal courts. It was as if two forces were trying to annihilate each other, using the Constitution as a weapon. Fire tensions in the streets. As the giants battled at the top of the pyramid, cracks began to spread at the base. Protests erupted, first on college campuses, then in mid-sized cities. Many rallied under the hashtag number 50501, a reference to the date Musk publicly broke with Trump, May 5, 2025, turning a political fracture into a symbol of civil resistance. In the streets of New York, signs read, "We are not algorithms or slogans. We are the people." Meanwhile, in small towns across Texas and Missouri, Trump supporters organized motorcades with banners showing the former president's face and the slogan, "A real president, not a robot." The nation was torn between those who saw Musk as the last defender of tech freedom and those who believed Trump was the only one strong enough to stand up to the globalist billionaires. DNA institutional fallout. The rupture echoed through Washington. Congress became a battleground, partisan and digital. The two men waged war simultaneously in courtrooms, on social media, and behind closed political doors. Democrats watched the chaos with a mix of irony and dread. Meanwhile, moderate Republicans, cornered, began to quietly wonder whether Musk might, in fact, be a viable alternative for 2028. A leaked memo from the Republican National Committee revealed the party's internal struggle. "We must decide, are we with the populist patriot or the visionary technocrat? Both want to make America great, but in irreconcilably different ways." The country was exhausted, fractured, and in a state of constant alert. But one question began to echo through the halls of power, at discreet billionaire dinners, and in middle-class bars. What if Elon Musk runs in 2028? Today, the tension between Donald Trump and Elon Musk dominates headlines, social media, and the corridors of power in a battle that explodes into daily public clashes and strategic moves shaking U.S. politics and the economy. Fire direct attacks on social media. Every morning starts with a new round of provocations. Trump calls Musk, the billionaire who sold out to the globalists, and accuses him of using his fortune to sabotage American sovereignty. Musk fires back, saying Trump is a leader who prefers to manipulate fear instead of building the future, accusing his administration of trying to control information and stifle innovation. These attacks go far beyond words. They're digital warfare strategies, fueled by engaged followers, viral memes, and heated debates across the country. Stop sign real retaliations. On the official front, the Trump administration has been making life difficult for Musk's companies. New regulatory hurdles for Tesla in multiple states. Temporary suspension of contracts with SpaceX citing ongoing investigations. Increasing pressure on Musk's digital platforms, facing audits and threats of multi-billion-dollar fines. Musk, however, isn't standing still. He's investing in strategic alliances with other tech leaders and seeking to expand operations into territories less influenced by U.S. politics, creating global alternatives that directly challenge government interference. Speaking ahead, the media showdown. Recently, in a live interview simulcast on X and a conservative news network, Trump and Musk starred in what was called the tensest debate of the digital age. Trump, with his signature style, mocked Musk. "You might send rockets to Mars, but here on Earth, you can't control what you say or do." Musk responded with a cold smile. "While you think about controlling everything, I'm thinking about freeing people. The future doesn't wait for politicians stuck in the past." The exchange got so heated that moderators had to step in to prevent it from turning into a violent personal confrontation. Chart-decreasing market and political fallout. The repercussions of their feud are already hitting the markets. Tesla sales are dropping in regions with strong Trump support. Startups connected to Musk face challenges accessing traditional financing. Legislative proposals aimed at limiting the power of influential billionaires, clearly targeting Musk, are gaining traction in Congress. Meanwhile, Trump's base remains loyal, viewing Musk as a powerful, arrogant enemy, while progressives see Musk as a symbol of hope and innovation. Balanced scale, a nation on edge. In this landscape, the United States lives in constant tension between tradition and innovation, control and freedom. The fight between Trump and Musk isn't just about politics or business. It's about which path the country will choose now. And as they publicly face off, Americans watch, divided, a titanic battle that could redefine the nation's future.